to County Cork and the town of Kinsale, where the Wild Goose studio started off as a very humble workshop where pieces of Celtic art were produced for, in the main, the local market. 30 years down the road, however, the workshop is busier than ever, and their uniquely Irish-themed wares are being sold in outlets in the United States, the UK, and in mainland Europe. And they're looking to markets now in the Far East. It's a great local success story and has managed to keep jobs in the small County Cork town. Geraldine Harney has the story.
You may not have heard of the Wild Goose studio, but there's a fair chance that when you see its Celtic-inspired products, you will recognise the work. 85-year-old Kathleen Smith founded the business over 40 years ago with her good friend Brian Scott McCarthy, and it kind of happened by chance.
In 1962, I moved to Bantry. I had been working in India before that, and I began work as a radiographer in Bantry Hospital. And there wasn't very much to do in one's spare time. There were no telephones in the houses, and it was before Willie Island started up, so I started doing this modelling in my spare time. And initially I used to do little figures from Celtic art books and things that way. And then somebody suggested I do the Bantry boat, which is on a pillar outside the town. And somebody said, what are we going to do? And I said, I don't know. And she said, there's a new craft shop opening in Skull. Why don't you take them over there and try and sell them?
After the success in the shop in Skull, word spread. Today, Wild Goose makes a huge array of individual products, all still with a Celtic twist. Jamie McCarthy Fisher is the managing director of the business and is son-in-law of the co-founder Brian.
40 years on, we have many different products, probably around about 200, and we make them in pretty much the same way as we always have done. We start with a model of a piece, which often Kathleen would make the mould from that, and then from that we can make as many different mouldings as we want. The process is done on a table. It's a cold cast process. We start with bronze powder or iron powder, which is dusted into the mould, and then we use a ceramic resin, which is poured in on top of that. That's then vacuumed to make sure there's no air bubbles, and from that we can we take out the pieces about an hour later and we polish them. One thing that we've always thought that sets us a little bit apart is that we would try to marry the image with an idea, so we want people to make an emotional connection with the piece. It's not just something that's a piece of Ireland they're taking home with them, they're taking home an idea as well. So if it's a piece of Celtic knotwork, for instance, we call it the Celtic Love Cross, and it talks about having no beginning and no end, as true love does. So we find that people are drawn into the image at first, and the shine of the bronze, and then they turn it over and they read about it, and then they go, aha, this is what I want to buy, and then they bring it with them. Our sales would come from buyers in Ireland, possibly taking a piece abroad to a family member. We'd also have a lot of tourists who buy us in Ireland. Then about 30 to 35% of our sales would come from the American market, and these would be going to Irish-American shops all over the country. We've exported to America for the best part of 30 years now, so we're quite experienced and we're quite well known there as well.
In fact, just recently the company scooped 2 major awards from US buyers. Closer to home in Kinsale, Cronin's is one of the shops who happily stocks the products.
I think that really, while some of the pieces are traditional, they all have a lovely sentiment, and they have captured very well the more contemporary market, and their pieces have grown and evolved with the change in consumer demands. So every year we look forward to what the Wild Goose studio is going to be doing for the coming year, because you can be sure it will be good.
One of the ways Wild Goose has managed to remain so successful has been its ability to move with the times.
More recently, in the last year, I've worked with a designer and an artist locally, and we took some of the images from our past, and we said we would like to bring some colour into what we do and some new materials. So we looked at ceramics, and we looked at textiles, and we looked at stationery, and came up with some new ways of doing what we've always done. So we've taken the heritage aspect of Wild Goose through to these new products, which are very, very different in the way they look, but they have all the elements that would have been there in the past. So the story is still there, and the images are there. They're just done in a bright way.
Good to see that Irish craft continues to have an important international dimension.